pressure.
I don't know that we'll see a pass here as they go.
A deep dive on the brakes. Here comes the 680 to the inside.
By 7 on the second. I can't believe what we just saw.
The three-wide Racing League Grand National Division heads to the Rock for the penultimate race of the 2020 season. It's been a long year in 2020, but now it's time for the final two races. This week at Rockingham Speedway, and the final race at Atlanta Motor Speedway in 2 weeks' time, where we'll crown a champion for 2020. Welcome to Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and DeCuna after a weekend that I was gone for Grid Live Touring Cup and Audubon Country Club in Joliet, Illinois. Finally back in the sim racing booth, where camera work is a little bit easier and a lot less frustrating as we begin our event here tonight, Finian. But you had an interesting weekend of sim racing, but we're back now for a three-wide Grand National Series for the second to last time at, I think, one of the best oval tracks in iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward to getting this race underway, especially, with the championship picture tightening up just a little bit after Indelicato performed fairly well in comparison to some of the other competitors up ahead. He's dropped the gap from, I think it was 21 points heading into Talladega, all the way to 11. So while he's not exactly there, if practice is anything to indicate, he might close the gap yet again, as he was the leading and the fastest driver in practice.
So with qualifying underway, we've got about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Of course, it's Nick Indelicato at the top of the standings right now, and he was really quick in practice as well. So keep an eye on the 51 car. He's got a handful of victories this season. We'll see if he can wrap it up and grab another one here for the end of the year in 2 weeks' time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, Rodenzo and Lazy Rocket sponsoring Sim TV here. Of course, Three Wide Racing has been a partner for Sim TV since the beginning of 2018, so glad to be on board with them here as this season comes to an end here in just a few weeks. But we'll now head down to the racetrack and finish up qualifying. And there's a lot of cars on track right now, but one of the ones that is Matt Hackathorn's number 84.
Yeah, absolutely. He comes out at turn 2. He's currently at the bottom of the timesheets, of at least the drivers that have put a time down back in 16th position. As he rolls through turns 3 and 4, we'll see if he can improve that time in that beautiful paint scheme.
So Hackathorn comes across the start-finish line, will improve to a 24.751. That will put him up into, let's see where that would go. Didn't look like it counted. So I don't know if he got the wall maybe, and that could have potentially hurt that time, but we'll see if he can come around one more time. Maybe this is his second. This would be his third flyer, I would believe. So this wouldn't count.
Yeah.
So it looks like Hackathorn's going to be a disappointing 16th here in the qualifying session. 5 drivers have yet to take to the racetrack: Justin Colbert, Hines, Jordan Teal, Matt Grnberg, and Jeffrey Fisher. And if you're wondering at home why I sound like I just rolled out of bed, because it's basically what happened. The trip out to Joliet was an 11-hour drive, and so on the way back I broke it up, staying at a friend's house in Columbus, Ohio. So I had a 7-hour drive today and went home and took a nap. So I just roll out of bed and hopefully I'm at least a little bit coherent. You might have to pull up the slack for me a bit.
Nah, no, it's fine. I've been warmed up from, well, I guess you're technically more warmed up than I do. I'm sure you had to do a lot more talking than I did over the last few days.
Well, I think we started doing Time Attack on Saturday. There's a 6-hour broadcast of Time Attack, Drift, and HPD, and all the other stuff that was going on Saturday at Audubon Country Club. But we didn't do much of that on Sunday. I believe we just did GLTC on Sunday. But it was a fun weekend, and for those that don't know about Audubon Country Club, it's actually pretty much right on top of Chicagoland Speedway. I didn't see it when I left, but I was told after I arrived that I probably could have seen it from the way that I drove in. I just didn't. It was very dark and very stormy when I arrived, so disappointed that I didn't get a chance to check it out. I heard some other guys tell me that those who will not be named, found their way into the speedway and took a little track walk. I mean, it's not like there's a lot going on right now, so.
No, yeah.
But it's a pretty cool track, and if those that don't know Audubon Country Club, it's a really unique racing facility that wheel-to-wheel races very well. And if you want to watch Grid Live Touring Cup from Audubon Country Club with myself and DJ Alessandrini and Tom O'Gorman commentating, you can watch all those races on the broadcasts that you've seen. You're gonna have to kind of search through them a little bit. I'll have them cut down probably towards the end of this week so that you can, they're all 4 separate videos and they're a lot shorter and more consumable, so that it's a little bit easier to watch. But Tom did get a chance to run in race 2 and race 4. and Tom's a good buddy of ours, and it was really cool. He I shouldn't say this, but he did tell me that he actually cried at the end of race number 2. It was his first race that he's done this season, and he was driving his old Honda Fit, the one that he began racing with at Laguna Seca in 2016, I believe that it was, where he finished on podium in his first ever event. That car was sold a few times and has actually ended up back in GLTC. He got a chance to drive that car, and he had a blast, and you could tell the way he was driving it, Finian, down the straightaway, slipping and sliding around and battling through the mid-pack. It was just so much fun to watch him have a good time. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, indeed. And with that, with gridding pretty much almost complete, I think we're waiting on 1 or 2 guys here on the grid. We're going to get ready to go here at Rockingham. Should be 1 pace lap for these drivers, and Indelicato leading the field down.
All right, let's take a look at our starting lineup here tonight. On the front row, it's going to be Nick Indelicato in the number 51 Toyota, and James Miller in the number 09 Chevy Monte Carlo. He starts in second.
And moving back to row number 2, we got Tanner Sharp in the 3, lined up conveniently in position number 3. Next to him, Levi Zielinski in 4th in the 97.
Nathan Velez rolls off 5th, right alongside Drew Eisenman's Eisen Design 77.
Back in 7th place is going to be Michael Goodman, the 44. Next to him, Sam Close lined up in the 5 in 8th.
In 9th place, on the inside of the 5th row, Dustin Dewar in the 32 car, and Kevin Finn on the outside in 10th in the number 14.
Brent Miller going to line up 11th, and then Brandon Kluser next to him going to line up in the 94 in 12th.
In 13th place tonight on the inside of row 7, Corey Lindsay's 00, and Ethan Reasoner starts 14th in the 15 car.
Back another row in row 8, it's going to be Frank Sims lined up in 15th and 75. 84, Matt Hexler going to line up next to him in 16th.
Matt Grnberg rolls off in 17th in the 54, and Jeffrey Fisher starts 18th in the 06.
Moving on back to 19th, find Justin Kobe lined up on the inside next to Richard Hines in 20th.
And it looks like the last driver on the grid will be Jordan Teals, number 11. It's been a while since we've seen Jordan in any sim racing action here on Sim TV, so glad to see him back. Tonight's event is 150 laps. It'll take the field about 1 hour to complete if it goes green from flag to flag. Field rolls out of turn number 4. Back racing on Sim TV in the virtual world. Green flag flies racing from the rock as they thunder down towards turn 1 at Thunder Alley. Oh, already James Miller slides up, slams the wall at the exit of turn 2, and the field's going to get into it. The 14, the 77, and more torn up at the exit of turn number 2 on lap 1. A mess at the start. The 3-Wide Racing League Grand National Division, the penultimate race of the season. Not the way you want to start for a guy like James Miller.
Yeah, especially considering James Miller is running second in the points, hoping to try to make up any points if he could on Matt Grnberg, and you already see the bumper hanging barely on the back end of that 09 machine.
That was a pretty hard hit. He got a tank slap the wall. Let's go back and have a look at exactly what transpired here. Oh, the 3 of Tanner Sharp got up off the apron and turned him around. He gets into the wall, then the Nathan Velez got a piece of it too. Just a big stack up as they come out of the corner. Really nothing that anybody behind him could do. It was wrong place, wrong time for those drivers. Yeah,
absolutely. And we'll also see, if we couldn't ride on board with Matt Grnberg, he had an interesting view and an interesting line from that incident. Starting all the way back as he usually does, you can see a giant wreck up ahead. He's going to decide, I'm just going to pull down into the little pit lane on the back straightaway.
That's really risky because there's a lot of times when stuff like this has like invisible walls in it, and it would really suck to just roll into an invisible wall at 60 miles an hour. But it looks like he managed to get through. Corey Lindsay also got turned around and all that, so not a good start for a bunch of drivers, as they're going to have to go down and repair their cars. Thankfully, most of it should be repairable, and we should be able to continue, but a messy start here at Rockingham.
Yeah, absolutely, and just trying to sort the field out, dude. They're also still quite a bit of a mess. Trying to look through here who we kind of lost and who is still running at least in a reasonable spot.
Yeah, if you want to look at live timing and scoring, it's available at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing, so you can follow along in real time and stay updated on your friends, family, and buddies. As Indelicato, Zielinski, Sam Close, Michael Goodman, and Dustin Dewar are the top 5. You see Frank Sims rolling onto pit lane. That car is a little worse for wear as well.
He was one of those guys that caught that incident quite a bit. And also notably, too, some guys got awkwardly put behind the pace car, notably Richard Hines, Corey Lindsay, Jeffrey Fisher and Jordan Teal, they because they came almost to a complete stop, and the pace truck passed them as the wreck was happening down in turn 2. They got put inadvertently behind the pace car, which is unfortunate for Lindsay because he's got a decent amount of rear end damage, cannot come down pit road to fix that, otherwise he will remain a lap down.
Sort of an unfortunate race control thing here. I'm sure they'll get that sorted out here in just a moment. Also, are you a fan of Brisk by any chance, Fane?
Oh, I was wondering. I heard you drinking something.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was.
I love this
I mean, it's
stuff.
all right. It's all right.
There's something about this for me that is just so satisfying. Partially because there's not a lot in it. Like I don't want to say it's good for you, but it's better for you than soda. And it's like a huge bottle, and they're like 99 cents. It's awesome. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
Man. I wish they would sponsor me. Brisk. SimTV brought to you by Brisk. Want a cool, refreshing drink for 99 cents from a gas station on I-85? Drink Brisk. All right, so the field gathering back up on the front straightaway here. 5 laps into a 150-lap race. This is not a very long race either here, Finney, and a pretty short one, a sort of a sprint race by some standards. You see the road course down there on the infield. That was used by the SCCA up until 1997. I think it got some use beyond that, but it's not a very good road course, but it's something.
Yeah, I mean, typically goes for a lot of, I think, Robles. Robles always sound interesting, but I mean, you look at Pocono and you look at Gateway, even this track. Some of the layouts is not that good. Also, Autoclub, you throw that. I don't really like Autoclub's layout.
Autoclub's layout is not terrible. It's sort of fun if you're like imitating like a track day sort of thing, because that seems to be how that track gets used most of the time. I don't think it's a very good racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Which was interesting because Autobahn, the track they were at for Grid Life Touring Cup this weekend, that track doesn't really look super interesting on paper, but my goodness, is it race well. I was telling you before we went live here that we couldn't see the most important passing zone from the tower up in the booth there, a very nicely air-conditioned big glass window booth there. We couldn't see the best passing zone, and every time that the leaders would go off behind the trees, they'd come back out side by side. The last sector really sets you up for good passing out there, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So again, keep an eye on our channel for the next couple of days. We'll have those clipped down and shown right here in about 15-minute segments. It's consumable racing. Real world stuff as we get a couple of drivers waved back around and caught back up to the tail of the field. And Delicato chooses the inside lane for the restart. And Levi Zielinski on the outside. He's been on a roll lately here, Finney. It seems like he's finally starting to shed some of that bad luck.
I wouldn't start saying that too soon. We always know how bad it can go for him in a split second. So hopefully he remains up here in the top few spots, especially considering he qualified really well.
Pace truck's going to make a hard left-hand turn onto pit lane, and Delicato, Zielinski close. Goodman, Dewar, your top 5. Green flag back in the air from the Rock. Big send for Sam, closed down into turn number 3. Gonna slide up in front of Brennan Klooster, who's to grab 4th place away. Nick and Delicato, though, he is running. And the man he's running from will be the 54, Matt Grnberg. Why, Finney? Because the last time 3 Wide was here, Matt Grnberg left everybody up to 3rd place. And that was back, was that the truck race or was that the cup race? I can't remember, but either one. He won both of them.
Yeah, I think it was the cup race that I think was almost worse for the field really as a whole than the truck race. Did a really solid job there. You can see in the midst of traffic there's the 09 of Miller fighting with Eisenman as well as Velez and Kevin Finn all in a 4-car battle.
Got a great fight off into turn number 1. Miller on the outside of the 48. And track up the road just a little bit. And the 12 degrees of banking here at Rockingham, it feels like a lot more than that. It's also very bumpy. It's not a very smooth racetrack, so it's a lot of fun to drive on. Very serial bowl type racetrack. You kind of get down into the corner, the G's push you down into the seat. It's a really cool racetrack to watch racing at as well, and it's been a really good place on SimTV. So glad we're back here tonight as we jump up the road a little bit. Grnberg up to 7th place. Where did he start? How about 17th? Up 10 spots in 10 laps.
Yeah, I was going to say that wreck really helped him out. He gained almost all of his spots from that alone. Restarted in 9th, all the way up into 7th at the moment as he's working on Justin Dewar in the 32 ahead of him. We saw Dewar had a really poor run at Talladega, got into the wall early on in the race and never truly recovered from that, but trying to hold up Grnberg in mind for now.
Up at the front, Nick Delicato's got all sorts of pressure from behind. Levi Zielinski in the 97, so close to grabbing a victory last week at Talladega, and that has just made him a little bit hungrier.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you might think, why not just let Zielinski on by and remove that pressure? I think for Indelicato, he needs to try to lead as many laps as he can. Why? Because you get a bonus point for leading the most laps, and especially considering how much tighter the points are at the moment. You see the 97 make a move to the inside as Indelicato actually give it to him, so I guess might shuffle out back behind. We'll see if he tries to fight that back.
I think Zielinski's just that much better right now, is able to slide on by on the inside, and Delicato certainly didn't fight it any harder, but there's also the longevity factor here. Your tires are going to get beat up around here, especially sliding around. So I think it's wise to maybe just let the 97 go for now if you can't hold on to the lead without tearing up your stuff, because you want to keep your tires for later in this race. Matt Grnberg goes up to 6th place. Dustin Dewar back to 7th. Brent Miller, big slip up in turn number 4, and Tanner Sharp has a look up the inside.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp got an EOL for causing that last wreck, so he worked his way from the back to the front already pretty quickly, all the way up in 8th.
And this track really seems to allow the drivers to really sort themselves out by pace. If you're slower than somebody, you're going to get past, and that seems to have been the trend here when we've been here in the past. So Zielinski still setting the pace out up front by about 3/10 over the next driver. Matt Grnberg now 5th place. He is flying right now, though. Not quicker than the race leader on lap time, but certainly making the most time of everybody else on the racetrack. And once he gets to 2nd, it's not going to be a lot of time before he gets to the lead. As you see behind Tanner Sharp, also charging forward with him.
I was going to say, he's following Grnberg pretty much. As soon as he can get by boosters, he will be right in behind Grnberg. So, at 3, also another car not to count out just yet. So, I mean, you're kind of starting to see, who are really the ones to watch. And I think really those are, once again, Delicado, Grnberg, and Sharp at the moment, all running really well.
Brent Miller, whoa, up the inside of Brennan Kluster, who's at the exit of turn number 2. And we've seen a lot of incidents at the exit of that 2nd corner, and when a wreck happens over there, it seems like it just funnels down. You can have all the wrecks that happen at the exit of that corner are typically big wrecks. It seems like we don't really see small ones over there. As soon as you get a car sideways at the exit of 2, people just pile in, because if we ride on board the roll bar, you go off into the corner here, and you can't see very much above the line of the roof here, because the banking is so extreme. It's very much like Bristol in that regard. Your sight line is only about 5 or 6 seconds in front of you. By the time you see the car spun, it's usually too late to miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially also combined with the fact, too, everyone's pretty much coming out and exit right against the wall. Everyone's funneling out to a very small part of the track, which is typically where the wreck is. You see Richard Hines and Corey Lindsay battle that out. They're currently fighting for 14th place. As you see now, also the 11 of Jordan Teal going by. He's in 15th at the moment.
Again, it's been a really long time since we've seen Teal run in 3-Wide Racing League, or in Scars for that matter. So good to see him back in some capacity. Having a pretty solid night so far, 21st to 15th. That's a +6 for him, and has some pace right now as we go back up to 8th, because it looks like Dewar and Kluster, who are not completely done. Behind in the 15 car is not Frankenfield this week. It's Ethan Reasoner, another driver that we've seen kind of in and out of the series, and running Chad's car tonight.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it was Chad, but thank you for catching that before me, because we're so used to really associating a paint scheme to a driver pretty much no matter what. But yeah, Ethan Reasoner making an appearance, running pretty solidly in the top 10, trying to chase down Kluster's up ahead of him.
And 3rd place, Michael Goodman, feeling some pressure from Sam Close in the number 5. Another driver I feel like, and maybe the stats don't necessarily reflect this, but I feel like Sam Close has been running better, at least in the race. I'm not sure if he's really finishing any better, but it seems like the pace is there for the 5 car, at least this late in the season. So he might be able to finish this one off strong and maybe get a victory here tonight as he goes for a podium spot down into turn number 3.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run at the beginning of the season, then a bit of a dry spell in the middle, so he has kind of started to rebound. Talladega didn't do quite well for him, but he had a nice solid 5th place at Rockingham.
Right behind him, you see Matt Grnberg, who also went by Goodman, made that look easy. Goes up to 4th place and now has a look at Sam Close. Look at the run that he's got. And he does have new tires, but I can't imagine that would have made much of a difference on a lap 1 caution.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But he is the fastest car, at least last lap was the fastest car on the track. Imagine it might be more or less the same this time by as well. So he's starting to dash back up to our leaders, and now it's a clean track to work with.
Jeffrey Fisher in the 06 car by Matt Hackathorn's 84. And Corey Lindsay and Nathan Velez, they had just traded spots. Velez, or just traded track position, I should say. They're not actually on different laps. But Velez, you see the damage on the front of that car there, Finian, and that's pretty severe damage. That's all from that contact on lap 1, turn 2. As we go back to the front, because Zielinski has gotten run back down by Indelicato, who might have been saving his tires a little bit better.
Absolutely, and I think this is what you might have been, at least 51 might have been waiting for. Going to barely get on by the 97. They were really close to touching fenders through turn 3, but 51 will get back up to the lead. And again, it's important for him really in the overall picture to start kicking off some lap sled.
Especially because the guy that's going to be the hardest one to beat tonight is back in third, and Grnberg has been charging late in the season and just grabbing points left and right. And for Indelicato, he just needs Grnberg to have a couple pretty not good races, to say the least. So he's got to really push hard, grab any chance at grabbing a championship into Atlanta next year, in 2 weeks' time.
And even if it is remotely close, if he doesn't end up winning the championship, he's going to be kicking himself after what happened at Richmond. That's effectively what put him so far back. Was looking as a championship favorite, almost better at some places than Grnberg. But again, that wreck at Richmond, which took him out of the lead and cost him so many points, he's never truly been able to recover from, and is trying to do the best he can now. He's got Hackathorn down on pit road.
Yeah, he's got some fairly significant damage. You can see right here on this left side door panel, so he might have been in the wall a couple laps ago, but he'll get back out on the racetrack now 2 laps down, and might be 3 here by the end of this run, but he'll have some fresh tires to be able to run away from the 51 car, who's the race leader. The last time by was about a 10th off of Matt Grunberg's pace, who continues to be the quickest car on the racetrack, and now Levi Zielinski is about to fall into his clutches.
Yeah, Zielinski's just slowed down quite a bit. He's the slowest car out of, I'm trying to look back, who's the next entire top 8. Slowest car, so he's starting to fall back down to clutches of not only Grnberg but closing Goodman as well.
This just seems like the perfect example of charging too hard at the beginning of a run. He got some laps in, led some laps, and got a really good short run pace, but it's just not going to last. You're tearing up your tires. He's about a 1.5 seconds off of where his fresh tire pace is. So I think that's what's been hurting him here as Grnberg closes in. We're going to have a battle for second here in just a moment.
I'm curious how much of a battle it's going to be. Is Zielinski going to bother fighting this or just let Grnberg on by again, considering these tires are really starting to fall off a cliff in comparison to some of the other guys. And you can just see there by how much tighter Grnberg can hold the line compared to the 97.
And it looks like Zielinski's running a little bit up the racetrack. I don't think he's going to fight it much at all as they go down into turn 1. I think he knows the writing is on the wall here as the 54 looks low on corner exit. We'll see if Zielinski makes this pass easy or if he'll make it difficult for Grnberg.
He's trying to make it difficult. Catches quite a bit of apron there. You see him rocket up the track because of that, and now Grnberg going to slip up the inside.
Yeah, that didn't really look intentional there, but as we cross the 1/5 mark of this race, this time through, Indelicato is the race leader, and Grnberg, you see Zielinski trying to fight it, but the futile fight, and Sam Close just going to sneak up the inside, get the nose in the door, but can't quite complete the pass.
And Zielinski got pretty close to the wall there, but is going to still stay ahead of the 5 of Sam Close. But you see Close trying to get a wider line through the corner, try to get a better exit than the 97 because he's definitely got a faster car in behind Zielinski.
And Delicato's going to have to deal with some lap traffic beginning right about now. He just got by Richard Hines, who's way up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Almost got up in the fence to see Close go by for third on Zielinski. But now Delicato's got to fish his way through traffic as well as hold up at charging Grnberg as we get into the meat of this run.
Yeah, this is really a matter of settling in, and Delgado did a great job of just conserving his stuff. I think solid. Zielinski wanted to push earlier on, let him by, let him burn up his tires, and now he's setting his own pace. But again, now Grnberg, he's actually, as he was trying to get around Hines that last lap through, was slower than Delicado. So I'm curious to see between these two cars who's got the better long run pace.
I'm still going to put my money on the 54. We'll see what happens there. You see also the 15 of Ethan Reasoner having a look at Dustin Dewar off into turn 3, up the inside, and he goes through.
And Reasoner now up to 7th place because of that.
Michael Goodman, Tanner Sharp off into one. Things going to get tight, and Sharp's going to run to 44 way up the racetrack. But a good rebound for Tanner, and I think there was a point in this season where he had so much bad luck and the frustration was just piling on that bad mistakes and bad luck would compound and make his days really, really bad. But he got that EOL and his charge right back to the front, no drama, and up to 6, so he's going to have a good run tonight, I think.
Yeah, you talk about bad luck this season is only, considering how fast he is, he only has one top 5 this entire season. That was 5th place at Iowa, so he's really looking forward to getting another one, if not get a better finish, because I think he's faster than a few guys up ahead of him.
I think he had the pace to run in the top 3 or 4 in the point standings this year, but just has not had the luck or the finishes anywhere near where he runs during the race. So Tanner frustratingly back in for now. So you see Ethan Reasoner having a look at Matt Hackathorn behind. Hackathorn is 2 laps down after coming to pit lane for some wall contact damage. He's right behind Richard Hines. That is not a battle for position.
Yeah, one battle I'm starting to see brew, and this is kind of surprising, is for 2nd place. Grnberg and Close getting pretty close together, because I'm actually surprised that Close is catching up, and there's some 2 lappers battling up ahead. He might have a shot here, the 5 of getting to the inside of Grnberg.
Yeah, I am really surprised by this too, and we mentioned that I thought Grnberg's pace was going to pick right back up as soon as he got by Hines, but that doesn't seem to be the case, so maybe he beat up his tires a little bit too much. But again, I'd be surprised, because Grnberg's typically one of the best out there at handling the good years on these cars, but Sam Close might have done a little bit better job as he's hounding him at the exit of turn 4.
He's starting to put pressure, and he gets a great run off the corner, going to dive down to the inside. Here we go, battle for 2nd.
And he's got it. Move Sam Close to 2nd. So that's a really big, that's a very powerful moment in this race, because Matt Grnberg, to me, is the driver that everyone expected to win. And if he's struggling right now, this 38 laps into a run, we're not even really halfway through a fuel run right now, Finian. So I think, again, I don't think the limiting factor will be fuel tonight. I think it will be tires, as it was a few weeks ago. I think you're going to have to come down far before your fuel tank runs out of fuel, and just precisely for the reason that Matt Grnberg just figured out. You're going to lose pace, and you're going to want it back, and you need Goodyears to do it.
Yeah, and trying to look at where these guys are running pace-wise. Currently, at least for Delicado, looking at him, best time for him at 24.1. Last lap through ran at 25.4. So these guys are running about almost a second and a half slower than what they ran at the beginning of the race.
Grnberg a full 3/10 off of where Delicado was the last time, and the slowest of the front 3. Definitely seems like he's struggling a little bit now. Brett Miller and Brandon Klusser, who's these two have been tit for tat all night tonight. Passing and trading spots back and forth, continue in their dogfight for 10th place at Thunder Alley. As we approach 110 laps to go, this race is ticking off pretty quick, about 45 minutes of racing left. Again, pretty short one by 3 wide standards. And this will probably be a 1-stopper. Maybe a 2-stopper if you want tires.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you do want tires, however, you are going to, again, you got to weigh the option. Is it worth spending, a little over 40 seconds down a pit road to get those fresh rubber? Get that fresh rubber. For some drivers, it might be worth it. For the leaders, I imagine they're going to try to do this a 1-stop, but only just, I think they might come down almost exactly at around lap 75. I don't think they want to go on the tires longer than they need to.
Throttling up as we approach our first 50-lap marker here at The Rock. And again, this racetrack has been out of NASCAR competition since 2013, and this is one that I desperately wish we had back. I know that the races we had there, when the trucks went there, weren't that amazing, but I don't really think 2013 was an amazing time for Truck Series competition. So I think I'd like to see it come back.
I think at least put the Xfinity Series there. I think they would put on a pretty good show, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. I think that'd be good. I also think the problem with this is that it's in North Carolina, which is already sort of a congested market for NASCAR racing, and it's just sort of in the middle of nowhere, which is sort of the reason why it hasn't really been highly considered. As NASCAR moved to major markets, they sort of abandoned these tracks that were kind of nowhere. But at the same time, you look at a place like Watkins Glen, that's really, it's within 5 or 6 hours of some major city centers, but that's still pretty far from any sort of actual civilization. So I don't really see that being a valid reason.
Yeah, especially nowadays too. I can definitely see it being more reason in the past, but I think now, especially too, considering a lot of people are clamming for the series to come back to, you know, more traditional tracks. Let's say that, and especially like Rockingham, I think is a prime contender. I think honestly, this would be a perfect time to do it. I would think that people would definitely show up to watch a race back here.
At Grnberg, reapproaching the 5-car of Sam Close, so we might have a battle reigniting for second place on the grid. These two continue their battle, but Nick and Delicato doing what he needs to do the best. 4.9 seconds out in front. He just has to lead, basically past lap probably 80 something. Let's have a look here. Laps led for Delicato 33, so he's basically going to go until lap 87, 88, and he would claim the most laps led here tonight. And I think that's pretty doable as we go back to Tanner Sharp and Ethan Reasoner. This is a battle for 5th.
Yeah, you see Sharp working around the outside lane. Actually, this is Reasoner on the attack here, but Reasoner going to try to chuck it up the inside lane 15. I'm kind of surprised by this, but again, I think you're looking at the 3, and even you can see Zelensky there up ahead, also following prey as Reasoner did, I think, just a better job at saving his tires.
Great battle there, side-by-side action, and this is one of these racetracks that I feel like you can use different lines, and it's not rip the wall or rip the bottom. It's like it's a general area of running the inside or the outside lane. There's so many different ways you can run the corners here. You see in front of them, that was a big hit. Or I think that was James Miller, or excuse me, not James Miller, Jeffrey Fisher in the 06. He pounded the wall at the exit at turn number 2. Have to imagine that might be tire related. He's out there, you know, struggling with older tires here. So look, that's a pretty heavy hit there.
Yeah, indeed it was. Looks like he's going to continue on in that 06, but again, the car cannot be feeling good, and it really isn't as we go back live. He's running pretty high in the lane. You can see that it's a really hard hit.
Sam Close in the number 5. Still hangs on to second. They are still losing time to the race leader as we come across the complete lap number 50 next time by. That will put us past the 1/3 mark of this race, and the 51 car, as of right now, seems like the favorite to win this.
Yeah, I mean, with that lead expanding as well, which is a really key thing now. I'm curious, you know, when we're going to see these guys come down to pit road, because the pit window is going to officially open in about 10 laps time. I think it's going to be a while though before we see these guys come down. But even Delicato, again, if you want to play the points game, you wait until Grnberg comes down to just make sure he doesn't lead a lap, because Grnberg has not led a lap yet today.
I don't know. I think if I'm Grnberg, what I'm noticing is that I'm not able to save my tires as well as the 51, so I sort of want to gain my advantage on him in that area. So if I'm Grnberg, I sort of sacrifice the potential to lead a lap. I've got a bit of a points lead. I think I'm okay with sacrificing that in order to try to go win the race. So I think the 54, in my opinion, should probably try to overcut the 51 car and try to come back out with fresher tires and be able to run him down later in the run. Now that he knows that he's beating up his tires more than the 51, I'd really expect Grnberg to be a lot better the second time around, knowing what his mistakes were. Eli Zelensky's slow into turn number 3 and 4, and he's going to hit pit lane.
This is really early.
It is really early, but could be splitting this up into a 2-stop race, knowing that the pace... the thing is, I'm not really sure that the pace would make a 2-stopper worth it. So there is a little bit of right side damage on that car. I wonder if he got in the fence and decided to come on down. But we also don't know how long the tires are going to last. Maybe, again, Levi was one of the drivers that beat up his tires the most. Maybe he almost had a flat and had to come down as an emergency stop. So we'll see if anybody else comes on down here shortly. That might confirm that the tires are a bigger issue than the fuel.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as the lap times are concerned, these guys, you know, while the lap times are definitely a lot slower, again, with the amount of laps we have, the 2-tire stop, I don't think there's just not enough time to really make that work. But as you're saying, yeah, if the tires are a problem, just, you know, completely blowing out and failing, it's going to be a bigger issue. So only Zelensky's really one of the only notable drivers you've seen come down to make a early stop.
A handful of drivers that have made pit stops earlier in the night. Most of them were on the opening lap. Caution flag. So Delicato leads by 7.2 seconds over Sam Close and Grnberg, who continue to fight for second. One of the things about the Rock video that always seems to happen is the pace difference between the front and the back of the field seems to be pretty large. We've lapped up to 7th place already. We're only a third of the way into this race.
You guys are already running at a very fervent pace, and from the looks of it, by my estimations, we're going to see potentially the top, only the top 3.
Well, where have we seen that
track.
before? It seems like this track is really favors someone going out there and just whooping the field. It seems to be like this is the place where everyone does that. But for Nick Indelicato, that's exactly what the doctor ordered, and he better be able to do it tonight if he wants any chance of going to Atlanta and winning a championship.
Also, quick look back at Ethan Reasoner. He's moved all the way up now to 4th place due to Levi Zielinski pitting, and really solid run for the 15. Wasn't looking that hot early in the run, but again, slow and steady. Well, might not win either race. He'll definitely get you a solid top 5 in the case of Reasoner.
He runs in 4th place right now. We jump forward to 2nd place again, Dan Close and Grnberg. And these two have sort of been on lockstep, but Grnberg last time by ran 0.2 quicker than Close, but they're all about 0.6 of a second off of Indelicato. He is flat flying right now, up 8 seconds up the road.
You know, you think, maybe a 10th or 2 wouldn't be too bad, but Grnberg are losing almost 0.5 of a lap to even last time by. It was a little bit better, through only 3:10 deficit to Indelicato, but still that's again per lap. So, you're looking at losing a second or 2 over the course of multiple laps. So, I am curious when this 54 is going to decide to dive on down. Try to pull some sort of strategy call, especially because I don't think he wants to be sitting behind the 5 much longer as well.
Well, to split this race in half, you need to go another 15 laps. And that seems doable, losing a half a second for 15 laps. That's another 7 seconds down. That would put him essentially a half a lap behind Nick Indelicato, and that's pretty much an unrepairable differential. So you really have to kind of keep in mind, maybe do I pit now and try to grab some pace here and hope for a caution, because Matt Grnberg is very quickly finding himself in a situation where winning this race might be impossible. It's very easy to get in this disadvantageous situation. This is what the entire field had to deal with when Grnberg came here last fall and pretty much did the exact same thing. So I think for Matt, it's the other side of the coin. And I'm not sure if he knows how to handle this situation, because he's always been on the flip side.
I was going to say, how the turntables.
Yes. How the 4 turns tables.
A little bit of a mess up ahead of these guys, Frank Sims and Jeffrey Fisher. See Fisher come down on the apron, I think still struggling with the damage we saw again. Really hit the wall really hard a couple laps ago. I think he's still dealing with the ramifications from that.
Hitting the wall now with that kind of impact, it seems like it will really mess up your suspension as well. So, and I also do know that tires can blow or break off because of hard impacts. We've seen that happen a bunch of times. So you don't really want to hit the wall. I think that's a true in any race car at any level, but especially not here. There is safer barrier, but you can also find yourself into some hard concrete if you miss it.
Even with the safer barrier, just because it's slightly softer, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's a safer barrier. It's not made of marshmallow. It's still steel.
Yeah, it'll still absolutely mess up and destroy your race car if you hit it too hard.
And Fisher's back on pit lane here. This has just been a frustrating night for him as we go back to second, because these two continue to run nose to tail. We are about 10 laps from the halfway point of this race, where we would see everybody hit pit lane. It's going to be a very busy place. If I'm Nick Indelicato, I do not pit at halfway. I would want to wait until pit road clears up, because there is a big chance for a caution flag as people try to get on and off of pit road.
Yeah, and clearly, Indelicato has done a really good job in the lead pacing himself, so why give up that disadvantage, especially considering the longer he waits to pit, to pit, as long as he really doesn't let Grnberg get that much closer to him, you can just kind of sit out there for, probably, I want to say, 5 to 7 laps, and then you can come back on in.
So only 6 drivers remaining on the lead lap, as Kloosterhuis is going to hit pit lane in the 94, as does Dustin Dewar. So we're starting to see a rash of cars hit pit lane. They'd be deciding that they'd rather deal with the worn-out tires more later in the race. I don't like this strategy for those drivers here, Fane, because if your tires are bad enough now where you need to pit, it's going to be even worse at the end of this race, because you have to go basically 85 laps instead of 75. So I would much rather, if you can live with it, I would live with it for another 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah, I think these guys might be hoping, eventually caution will come out to shorten that up. So I think they figure might as well get good out of the tire. If not, oh well, and they're just gonna have to deal with it later on. Another driver coming down on.
Oh, big car in the wall in the front straightaway. That's the 48 of Nathan Velez, I believe.
Oh,
and there's a hood flying off. Is that Velez? No, it's not Velez.
No, I think it's Fisher.
Oh, Jeffrey Fisher. Thank you, Finn. It is the Fisher in the 06 car. In the wall at the exit at 2. Big damage on the right front of that car now. Suspension perhaps collapsed in on that car, but might have gone from bad to worse for him as Brent Miller hits pit lane.
Yeah, I'm also curious which one of us our screens is correct, because on my screen his hood didn't fly off. It's still
it reattached.
On, but okay, on my screen it's covering his windshield.
It very much came off here as we take a look. Bam, in the wall, and then rides up right there.
Oh.
And hit it again, and there it goes. So Fisher's night that was on fresh tires, I believe.
Yeah, it's gone from I don't know what's worse than worse.
Terramad.
Horrible.
Well, Nick Delicato's having a Terra good night. That was a bad. I quit. I think you can handle the rest of the stream. Sorry, I can't do this.
I've heard worse lines. Believe it or not.
From who?
I don't know, Rick Allen.
Vince Welch.
Oh yeah. And those guys get paid way.
Aggressive goes around.
There you go.
The wheel is still and steady in the hands of Ross Chastain. What did he say? It was something like that.
I don't even know. It was something stupid.
The wheel is still and perfect. Yeah, that's what he said. As she's coming out of the corner, four-wheel drifting at Gateway. I really want to make that call tonight as Delicata comes out of the last corner. Another car on the fence in turn 3. Catch who that was.
James Miller in the 09.
Had a good night for that crew. Started off on a bad note and continues that way. It's like,
yeah, that's not really good homage for Grnberg being a part of that team. I think he's kind of watching. Oh, hopefully nothing goes terrible for him.
Grnberg?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully nothing goes terrible bad for him. As Miller's running back in 10th, and Fisher, I think he's pretty much called it a night. Don't blame him all the way back in 18th.
Doug Sweeting says worser, sir. Worser? That's a sauce, I think.
Worcestershire.
Well, we're about ready to hit the halfway point here, and Nick Delicato's lead is extended to basically a half a lap. If we take a look down the racetrack, get a good sense of where Delicato is. He is coming across the line and just, well, that's not what I wanted to do. Right here, and Matt Grnberg is somewhere else. Somewhere else on the racetrack.
It's kind of hard to tell, actually. Yeah, you should be in a black car, which is not typically good to see from the camera.
I'm getting a little woozy out here, right? I'm not doing so good. we gotta get this race over with. As we got 75 laps to go, and we should see drivers hitting pit lane here shortly for whoever has not come to pit lane, which is only 4 cars. Well, 4 cars that have not been at all yet today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a lot of the guys have hit earlier on too. So, other than that, first caution, we've been clean and green, and I guess for your sake, hopefully we stay that way. To see Sam Close now come into the pits, running from 3rd.
And there's James Miller right in front of him, also hitting pit lane. Drew Eisenman, James Miller. I just said his name 3 times, I think. I said we're doing real good. And Delicato comes across the line, and now, like I said, he could probably go 5 or 10 laps before he needs to hit pit lane. But for Grnberg, again, I think he just got to run out the tank. I think he really. If I'm in Delicato, I think I come in the lap after Grnberg does. I mean, just because again he's been going faster and faster than Grnberg. Grnberg's not been able to match his pace, so if I'm him, just cover the 54 because I don't think the 5 is going to be too much of an issue either. Well, Grnberg's still running 3 to 4 tenths off the pace of the race leader, and at the end of this, we might see Nick and Delicato beat the field more than Grnberg did last fall, as actually the race leader hits pit lane. So Grnberg, will he respond? No, he's going to stay out and lead a lap here, grab a point. And I think we'll see that 54 hit pit lane soon after.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to want to stay again, as you're saying, pretty much too much longer. If anything, he's on the back foot here. He's got Painter Sharp right ahead of him.
Can I just
high
say,
on the track.
I never understood the back foot, because don't you have two side feet?
Well,
I'm sorry. But how does one have a back foot?
well, no, it's like you know you have a like when you're standing. I think like in a fighting stance, you get like have your foot, one foot in the front, one foot in the back. So I think like you get like pushed on your back foot, like you're about to fall. I think that's what that's supposed to reference.
I'll let it slide. We'll go back up to the front. Matt Grnberg continues to stay out on the racetrack. 79 laps into this race, make it 80. And he might kind of heed the advice that I said earlier and just run it out the tank and just try to overcut the heck out of Indelicato. That's really the only shot that he has at this point here, Finian, because I don't think that any other strategy is really going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, interested in seeing if this does work out, especially, if a caution does come out. With his luck, it honestly would come out in the next 5 laps before he pits. He would inherit the lead of the race, and Delgado, though, won't be a lap down. He'll be back and forth, which, again, it's going to give him somewhat of an advantage. How about Ethan Reasoner clawed his way up into second place, run really well, and also quietly tight as well. Not a whole lot of action.
Well, that 15 car has been in a whole lot of drama the last couple of weeks, so it's... I think anytime it just has a normal race, it's going to seem like it's a quiet one compared to the last few weeks. So, Reasoner putting that 15 car up inside the top 5 and having a really solid run tonight in the Pontiac 15 Menards car.
Also interesting note, too, is the fact that Levi Zielinski's come out ahead of Nick and Delgado. Not by much, but still an interesting note. Again, with Zielinski coming in very early on, in fact, there's almost 25 lap difference in tire life between Zielinski and Delgado.
Well, he's making, again, I don't think he's committed to a 2-stop strategy, but he's going to have to make another stop if he doesn't want to blow the tire out and knock the fence down.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might be able to potentially save a little bit of gas, but even then, as you're saying, the tires at that point are going to be next to, if anything, almost completely shut, especially considering how hard we saw him run earlier on, and that cost him quite a bit on his tire life.
You can just see how much time he's losing. Uh-oh, trouble for the 97. What's going on?
Yeah, just hit the wall. Got really tight out of the corner. Yeah.
Oh, he certainly did. We're looking at it from the side angle. They didn't really get a good view on it. Here's another look for the 97 off into turn number 1 up the racetrack, and this is going to make that tire life a whole lot less, just out of the groove and just catches a safer barrier. That's certainly going to hurt the 97. He's already down 2.4, 2.5 seconds from Indelicato. Matt Grnberg's still out on the racetrack. What do you got? Maybe 5-10 laps left of fuel?
Yeah, I'm looking. So he's been out for almost 81 laps, and he did come in under caution too, so it might be a little bit more. So he can call it go almost another 15 laps completely until he has to come in. But again, his tires, I can't imagine be doing too terribly well.
Yeah, he's 3 seconds off pace right now, just trying to hang on and be able to do something. Because you have to get a big enough overlap on Indelicato that you can actually run him back down, and it's going to be about an 8 to 10 lap differential if he pits right now. I just don't think, he's going to have laps left. I don't think he's going to be able to run him down, though. It was a 13, 14-second gap before the pit stop. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, here's the thing right now. Indelicado's actually 3 seconds behind him and catching him really quickly. There he is, and that's the distance. That he's not a lap behind. He's on the same lap chasing him down. So Indelicado's looking like he might pass Grnberg before he even comes to the pits.
Yeah, that would pretty much solidify Grnberg as pretty much F.
And that's gonna put Grnberg a lap down too. So if a caution comes out after Grnberg pits, he's gonna be a lap down and have to struggle to get back from that. So this is not really looking that good as Grnberg finally gonna come into pit road.
So finally going to bail out and come hit pit lane for the second time today. His other time was on lap number 2 after the lap 1 caution. This will be a very slow drive down the pit lane, 45 miles an hour. For Indelicato, he has this, I don't want to say lucked up here, Finian, but he's got everybody else in a chokehold right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I think definitely Grnberg, I think has almost no shot at catching back up to him at this point. And I think really, besides him, his only other competition is really the 5. And then, as you're saying, you saw almost a 12, 13-second gap before green flag pit stop started. So looking really strong. I think at this point, he's just hoping a caution doesn't come out.
Well, if Indelicato leads for another 8 laps, he'll have led the most, and no one else will be able to lead. I think Levi Zielinski, the only one driver capable of gathering that up right now. So with Zielinski on older tires, that basically you could give the point to Indelicato now, the most laps led as it stands, unless Indelicato were to pull a Richmond and smash into turn 1 and give it back to Zielinski. But I mean, I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anything is really possible. We didn't think that would happen.
I mean, 6 months ago, life was normal, and now the government's spying on us and chipping everybody, and there's a pandemic.
The government's been spying on us. That's the crazy part. But for Grnberg, he's come all the way back out.
That was such a. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was such a terrifying. Oh yeah, we all of our rights are gone.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do? I mean, honestly, what are you gonna do?
My dad always says
you moved to Canada.
Not to be controversial, but my dad always jokes that they always know where you are and can just send a missile down your throat whenever they feel like it.
Not the morbid note to leave on. Anyway, back to
the racing. This is what happens when I get delirious after a long drive or long low sleep. I'm sorry. This is just how things go.
This is honestly really entertaining, though. I mean, the race, as it starts to spread out here, I think we're going to start to see less and less on-track action. As I say that, though, Tanner Sharp's involved on a mix. He's got the leader right behind him, Indelicato, who just got past Dustin Dewar. He's currently in 6th. He's a lap down now, and Tanner Sharp trying to hold on to the lead lap.
Richard Hines caught the wall at the exit of turn 2, so he'll continue back in 12th position. 3 laps down. We're down to the last 5 drivers on the lead lap. This would make it 4. Indelicato is pretty much on pace to do exactly what Matt Grnberg did in the field last year.
I'm curious in the grind scheme of things to see how far Grnberg's going to come back up with his fresher tires again. He did come in very late, so the tires are going to be really good to work with here. See Indelicato riding in behind. And again, now we were talking about his lead too. He doesn't really need to push that much anymore. As one of these drivers, he obviously is. He's going to try to lap the whole field if he can.
And there's a certain point, I'm sure, when you're leading by this much, that it sort of becomes a bit of a challenge that you want to do. It's like the next side quest. It's not only to smash everyone into submission and beat everyone, but also to go lap the entire field. That's like a side quest that you have to complete. And Indelicato's doing a pretty good job. Got a battle for second, and the battle is complete. Close goes to P2. Zielinski real tight out of 4 again. Sorry to cut you off there, but really struggling with quarter exits on those older tires. He's got 43 laps on him and still needs to go another 54.
Yeah, this is going to be really long. I'd be impressed if he can go all the way. I was going to put him at, I think, almost 97 laps on this stint. I think he might try to hang on to this. He might come down to pit road. I think on his schedule, he should be coming by in the next 5 or so laps.
So right here, this is the 4th place battle. There's Ethan Riesener way up the racetrack.
Actually, Ethan Riesener, he's still not coming to the pits, believe it or not. 96
laps on fuel. And that's, I don't get it, but there he is, still running.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, he's still starting to approach the upper limit, because again, we had, I think, 4 or 5 laps under pace car, so, and my numbers say 93 laps, so he's definitely getting there if he's not already there, so
yeah, he might come out. He's going to have to hit pit lane here. I think he's really struggling. Is he going to stay out another lap? He's crazy. What's this lap time going to be, like 35 seconds?
So 27.5 last time by, and there's also another 27.5 this time by. So he's running consistently 2 seconds off most of the rest of the field.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, we're closing on 50 laps to go, and Indelicato still behind Tanner Sharp here. Surprised that he hasn't tried to force this a bit more, and he continues to run behind the 3 car. Actually lost some time to Sam Close last time by.
Yeah, I think he's just looking at it, I don't want to get myself involved in a wreck unnecessarily, so I think he's just going to ride him behind the 3. He doesn't really need to go anywhere. They're saying Sam Close 15 seconds back, so he has quite a bit of gap to play with.
Lap number 100 of 150 at the Rock for the 3-Wide Racing League Grand National Division. The penultimate race of the season as they come across the start-finish line. Indelicato goes to lap 4th place on the racetrack, effectively making it only the top 3 drivers on the lead lap. It's only been done one other time in 3-Wide Racing League history. at this track, and that was last fall with the 54 Matt Grnberg eventually taking home the checkered flag. Delicato now has officially led all the most laps. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of which, Grnberg, he hasn't been making as good of inroads as I thought as he would with these fresher tires. He's trying to work past lap traffic, and I think that actually might be his biggest hindrance. Is he's got the fresher tires, but he's catching guys that think at poor times. And considering how spread out the field is, there's a good chance he's gonna get in, have someone in front of him that's holding him up.
And for Matt, I'm a little bit surprised because I was almost certain that we were going to see roles reversed here with Delicato being the one kind of chasing Grnberg's strategy all night long. But surprisingly, it's been the other way around. Sort of a nice change of pace, actually, considering how much Grnberg's been dominating this series. But he's still going to have a good finish tonight. It's not going to be the differential that Delicato needs to really eat into the points lead on the 54, but it'll be helpful. We also should note that Ethan Riesner's pit stop has been complete. He comes out in 11th. And for Levi Zielinski, he has made his second stop today at lap number 102, puts him back in 9th place. Rising, and you see him getting past the 09 of James Miller. And Miller and the 06 of Jeffrey Fisher both have had abysmal nights tonight. And for Miller especially, I wonder what could have been, especially because of where he started tonight up on the front row.
Yeah, it was looking like a very promising night for the 09. Could have been in this battle for the lead. Could have been one either chasing that Delicato or even leading the race. We see his teammate Grnberg go on by him. But for Miller, back 5 laps down all the way in 15th.
He's still running. As we now, oh my goodness, we have put now Tanner Sharp a lap down. We have a new record for the least amount of cars on the lead lap, and that is 2. And I honestly think we might, considering it's a half a second differential right now, we might see Delicato be the only driver on the lead lap at the end of this race.
Yeah.
That would be very impressive.
This series is supposed to be kind of old school. I don't think that old school. I think that might be going back a bit too far.
Well, if it was old school, he'd be winning by 3 laps. So Nick's got to work on his pace a little bit, I think, for next time. Working over the 15 car of Ethan Riesner, or vice versa, actually, with Riesner on fresher tires.
Riesner getting himself only back 2 laps down. And that's how much the time it cost him being on those older tires. So he's got to make up 2 more circuits to be back on the same lap as everyone else. He's got the tires for anything to do it, but I don't think it's the time of the race left.
There's the 14 of Kevin Finn, who's been surprisingly non-factor tonight. I think he was involved in that first collision of the evening, and that set him back far enough to kind of doom the rest of his night. But Finn has had a couple victories this season, and tonight will not be another one. Kind of last like 17 or so minutes of racing. Back to Eisenman and Zielinski now, it's got tires that are fresh enough to allow him to make a pass and moves up into 7th. So this is actually not really that terrible of a strategy from what I've seen. He's still not up where he was had he gone with everybody else's strategy, but running inside the top 10, you can't say it's failed.
Yeah, it hasn't failed. That being said, he's got 16 seconds to the next car in front of him. But again, he's got some fresh tires to work with, so doable within the amount of time left. I think for the he should be on track to finish in the top 5.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Slammed on the brakes, and that's the 11 car right in front of him, Jordan Teal. And that just goes to show you the massive speed differential that he has to everybody else right now. I was just about to say, yeah, he might be 16 seconds behind Dustin Dewar, but he ran 1.5 seconds faster. That would really only mean that he's got about 5 or 10 laps until he gets up to the 32 car and starts ticking off and making passes. He could finish in the top 5 by the end of this race.
Yeah, and from Dewar, Goodman's only 2 seconds up the road from there, which is pretty much negligible with the amount of tires, the freshness of the tires he has on. Still, yeah, definitely looking on track to finish in the top 5. Speaking of the top 5, there's going to be a battle there soon in it with Tanner Sharp and Matt Grnberg. Grnberg catching up to the 3.
I guess it is conceivable that Grnberg could unlap himself before the end of this. I'd sort of be disappointed if that happened at this point, which was so close to doing something that no one else has done before, I don't think, on Sin TV ever.
Yeah, I think in about 10 laps time, I think Delicato's on on pace to catch Sam Close. So if Grnberg can wait that long, yeah, we can have, at least for a few laps, imagine have only one car on the lead lap.
Justin Dewar just hit pit lane. That's to move Levi Zielinski up to 6th, and he is now slicing and dicing amongst... Whoa! Big slide at the exit of turn 2. Around the outside of the 3 car as tries to harness the power of that Grand National Series car. Swings around the outside in turn number 3 and moves on by. So Tanner Sharp blitzed by here in the exit of turn number 4.
Yeah, he's going to also potentially blitz by Grnberg as soon as he catches up to him.
Well, Delicato is now only about 4, maybe 3 seconds shy. You can see the blue car off in the distance here as we come onto the front straightaway. There he is, up the road. Once he catches that car, if he can just hang on for the next 35 laps or so, that would be enough to break the new record of the least amount of cars on the lead lap, which would be 1. The previous record was 3, held by Matt Grnberg last season. Drew Eisenman hits pit lane for the 3rd time today. We'll head on down to get fresh tires and fuel. There's the battle for lead. The lap separated with Close losing this fight. And you're actually going to see the differential swapping back and forth here on the scoring pylon. Minus 22 and minus 2. The minus 2 is how far Sam Close is ahead of Delicato. That is not intended behavior on the ticker. It turns out it's awful convenient right now.
Yeah, I've always kind of found it to be like that. It is convenient. Times like this, you get to see for a brief second what's the gap the other way.
I don't know why it does that. It's because it's a negative 2.5. So I guess it. I guess that's what it chooses.
Do you think
to
that's make it positive?
I mean, I have in the code for this. I have it set to put the negative out in front of a number, and I think for some reason the SDK will often put its own negative there, so you get that double negative. I don't know how to undo that. So I guess I could convert it to a string and then check if there's a negative symbol there, and if there is, then you don't put one there, and if there isn't, then you do put one there. That's really complicated, and honestly, I don't think anybody cares. So.
No, I really don't think anyone does.
Honestly, if you've ever watched one of the truck series races at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, their ticker just goes crazy for the entire race because they don't know how to set up scoring loops out there. So, if you've ever watched that race, the scoring pylon is just an absolute disaster for the entire event.
You can forget when they, what was it?
Oh, that was, I think it was only last year or the year before that where they just had issues with the broadcast. We came back and there was a caution flag for no reason. We just figured that they threw caution to not miss the end of the race.
Ooh, Sam Close got a piece of the wall coming off of turn 4.
Now it's down to the last second or so. Grnberg not running very much faster than Delicato. Grnberg is heading down into 1 and 2. He might have a chance to unlap himself, but it's still going to be pretty challenging.
Yeah, that definitely is, considering that Grnberg's car, the tires are going to start to fall off. And we've seen Delicato do a better job at it than Grnberg, but we'll have to see here as he's closing that gap.
To the 5 car, there's a lot of traffic for Delicato to negotiate the next 25 or 30 laps. About 12 minutes of racing remaining in the penultimate race of the season for the 3-Wide Racing League Grand National Division.
Yeah, look at Levi Zielinski is ripping the whole line past both Richard Hines and Sam Close.
We had 1 caution. It was on the opening lap. Since then, it's been green. While the field slices and dices in front of the race leader, Nicky Delicato is 25 laps shy of pretty much shutting out the field. Here he comes on Sam Close. This is the 2nd place car. And he is about to put him 1 lap down. And for Nicky Delicato, what a power move. And officially puts everybody under green flag conditions 1 lap down. And Delicato is now the only driver left on the lead lap.
It'd be pretty awkward if a caution came out right now.
lot of wave rounds.
Well, the thing, it'll be only wave rounds if Delicado decides to pit. If he doesn't decide to pit, which would arguably be the smarter move, only the one driver that would get the free pass, which in this case would be Sam Close, would benefit, and we'd only have 2 cars on the lead lap.
If I was a lap down and starting next to the race leader, just take him out. Level the playing field back up. Can't be mad at it. Competition caution. It's competition crash. It's what you do when everyone's leading by a lap. You just take him out, and it resets everybody to a level playing field. I like that idea. Give them a fast repair so they don't have to complain. 25 laps to go, make it 24 this time through. And now the next battle to see is where is Indelicado in relation to Matt Grnberg. Indelicado's crossing line now. Grnberg is out of turn 4. He is closing. And I think he's got time to get there.
Yeah, he does, but we always say, catching one thing, passing is another, and, I can't imagine that he's been too careful on his tires. In fact, last lap through, they were almost equal on lap times, a little bit of an advantage for Grnberg, only by a few hundredths of a second, though.
See what it is this time through, and Delicado comes across the line. We're on a 25.757 for Matt Grnberg. A 25.842, so he did lose ground that time, so it's definitely not a surefire pass. And again, he's only got 20 laps to go. Not that long. We'll have to race here, about 9 minutes.
Next year to see also another potential battle, although it's spanning quite a bit of time. It's between Zielinski and Tanner Sharp. Zielinski well in the top 5 now. He's gone past Goodman and company, so in that spot now looking to potentially catch Tanner Sharp off the road.
Well, the other kind of battle that we sort of overlooked here is Sam Close and Matt Grnberg. Well, Grnberg is trying to unlap himself. If he does that, he will, in the process, pass Sam Close for second. So second place is still very much on the line here between those two. 2.6 second gap, and I do think that he will likely catch Sam Close. Oh, as I say that time through, they were pretty much dead even. So 20 laps to go. So Delicado continues his shutout on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's no point talking about him again. Every single driver left out. I mean, someone's got to take a picture of that guy. That's kind of impressive to see at an oval.
I don't think I've ever seen a ticker say this. This is a pretty wild night. And again, this is sort of what The Rock has shown us in the past, is that it really separates the men from the boys here as we get 20 laps to go. And what ends up happening is you get one driver that's just really good at it and just runs away and dominates. And everyone else is, there's only, the most drivers we have on the same lap is 4. And they're all 1 lap down.
Yeah, there's a myriad of drivers of the list that are still running. Only the top 13 are left still running on the track. Everyone else is retired or called it a day. So, yeah, and that's all spanning from being on the lead lap, which is only really held by Indelicado at the moment, all the way to 4 laps down.
We've lost a pretty good chunk of cars, basically a third of the field. Not all due to that opening crash, really. Justin Kolb never even started the race, so you couldn't count him. But from Corey Lindsay onward, some of them were involved in that opening lap collision, but no one retired from it. It was all just hitting the wall later, where they damaged their car too much to continue.
Yeah, and especially in the case of Jeffrey Fisher, just did not have a good night in general, so you just call it an after hitting the wall multitude of times. Props to him for just trying to keep out. I was surprised he kept running that car as long as he did, but unfortunately had to bring it to the garage and call it a night.
Did you know that this is something I learned earlier? That this little short oval over here is called Little Rock?
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
I was looking through the Wikipedia article 5 minutes before the broadcast, trying to figure out what to put in the factoid slot for Rockingham.
Right.
I didn't put that, but I thought it was an interesting note.
Huh. What actually races there? Is it just like late models?
No, it's probably like a Legends track.
Okay.
Maybe karts. It's pretty small. I think it's like an 1/8 mile or something like that. It's hard to tell. It might be a 1/4 mile. It's not a very big track for that. So for second place, Close and Grnberg was separated by about 1.7 seconds. For 15 laps, Indelicado has. He can stay out in front of Grnberg. He would do what nobody else has done before in the series. It's one step closer to maybe eking out a championship if Grnberg has a bad week next week. But for Grnberg, this has been He's been thoroughly beat tonight, which I don't think has happened like this, not to this magnitude in a long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at, how many, what's the points differential gonna look like, and from this finish, it's looking like Indelicato is gonna gain, I think I want to say 5 to 6 points on Grnberg. So it's not insignificant. The gap's going to close up to pretty much 5 to 6 points going into Atlanta, which is definitely a manageable gap to fight with. So I don't know. This championship might not be over just yet.
Grnberg continuing to chase 5 as Sam closed onto the front straightaway. 1.1 seconds now for those two. For Indelicato, nothing would be able to take this away from him right now. If the caution comes out, all he'd have to do is stay out on the racetrack, and he'd keep everyone from getting the wave around and effectively still be able to win the race. So he's pretty much in a win-win situation. Everyone else is in a very much lose-lose. But Sam Close is going to have to get real defensive if he wants to keep Grnberg behind him. He is approaching very quickly now with 12 laps to go.
And in these closing laps, I think Indelicato is going to be cheerleader for Sam Close to try to keep Grnberg behind, because again, that's one more point in Indelicato's advantage heading into next week. So far, Close has been able to do it. He's been losing a little bit of time, but Grnberg's not been catching at a significant rate. So there might be a bit of a battle on hands. Both these drivers starting to struggle on older tires.
See how much wheel Grnberg is putting into this car. Very bumpy and bouncy. Don't just, I feel like in the Cup cars, you just throw your wheel down to the bottom of the corner and you just hang on to it. But in this car, there's a lot of wheel movement. As Sam Close has to run wide, let the 77 on through. That's going to close that gap significantly and kill momentum for him on the straightaway as Indelicato heads to 10 laps to go this time by. And here comes the battle for second.
Close really, you can see, struggling to run that bottom line. He's not even going to try to contest the bottom here as Grnberg goes on by. Might try to just fight him on the top.
Gonna hang on for now, but Grnberg going to throttle up in the middle of the corner. And he'll have it here as Sam Close almost scrapes the wall at the exit of turn 2. Pass for position, Grnberg, second place again. So that'll eat into that points gain slightly for Indelicato.
Yes, and now it's looking like it might be a 5-point advantage to Indelicato out of this round, which is still looking really good going into Atlanta, still bringing that gap down to 6 points.
Started on pole, led the most laps, and as of now he's led 120 of the 142 that we've completed. To start on pole, lead the most laps and win a race, and lap everyone in the process, that's about as much as you can win a race. I think the only way that you can win it more is by packing up, getting home, and cracking open a cold one before everyone else gets home. That's the only other way you can win.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really impressive feat. I mean, we haven't even seen something like this occur in some of the endurance racing we've done. We've still seen gaps, on the lead lap, and if anything, you expect those races to, have drivers multiple laps down, but not in a stock car race, especially one just about an hour long.
I think what also helps is the fact that, endurance races are typically on road courses where you have more ground to cover, so it makes it a little bit harder to lap. Along with the less need for pit stop and generally less tire wear. But this place is short, it's aggressive on tires, and we ran enough laps here tonight that allowed everything to happen. So for Indelicato, he's doing a pretty good job. Grnberg is only in turn number 4. I don't think he's going to be able to unlap himself unless Indelicato makes a big mistake.
He's actually still running slower than Indelicato at the moment, so he's not even actually catching up to the 51. He's losing time, so yeah, it's looking more or less like he's going to finish him behind. Not that it really matters if he gets past him, if Grnberg gets past Indelicato, or not. It just means he has to run an extra lap to the end.
5 laps to go for the race leader, 5 miles effectively. As they head down into turn number 1, there is Sam Close just passing up underneath the camera. Might have been Brett Miller in the A9. Indelicato continues to dominate what has been a spectacular evening for him. And I don't think there's a lot that can take it away from him here tonight.
Ooh, here we go. Battle for fourth. Zielinski is caught up to Tanner Sharp, and this should be pretty easy for the 97.
Well, and all credit to Levi Zielinski. This is where he probably would have finished. So that strategy sort of worked out for him. And now he's on the attack. Had this race had a caution where everyone didn't pit, he would have been in a much better position. So I think Zielinski's move at the end of the day ended up being at least not a bad call. I don't know if it was necessarily the best call, because we don't know what would have happened otherwise, but it put him basically back where he was before.
And even Ethan Reason too, back in 7th, he's also benefited. And he's actually looking at getting 6th here. He's fighting with Goodman up ahead. There you see the 44. That's a battle for 6th place, and Reason are going to have a significant tire advantage here as he came in the same lap as Zelinsky.
And see 44 just unable to hold any semblance of a line on the bottom of the racetrack. Let Reasoner pull even with him at the exit at turn number 2. Still not a completed pass. We should have him down here into 3. Just not a lot of grip here in that middle to high groove on old tires. So through goes the 15th. So Nick Indelicato. This season has been a lot of ups and downs. The biggest down perhaps coming a few weeks ago at Richmond Raceway, where he was leading the race by a fairly significant margin. Looked like he had that one sort of in the bag there as well. It was a huge mistake into turn 1 with a slip and an overcorrection, where he slammed the wall and effectively ended his race. It put him down in the point standings, and he needed to claw his way back up if he wanted any chance to win the season championship over Matt Grnberg. This is a step towards that. Get on pole, lead the most laps, and win the race and lap everyone in the process. Nick Indelicato absolutely spanks the field at The Rock today and wins the penultimate race of the 3-Wide Racing League Grand National Division season. And already, everyone else has come on through. So, checkered flag is out. As a 32.8 second gap. That's what it is for Grnberg.
That's what a figure right there. And also another figure, too, for Indelicato. This is his 5th win of the season.
Coming back to the start-finish line to celebrate, and this always feels good, because this is not one of those races where you got a caution and you got lucky and you got lucky with your strategy. He went out there, he won this race, and he did it by a lot. It wasn't even close. Congratulations to Nick Indelicato. With that, we'll have a look here in just a moment at our race results. As soon as 51 is done showing off with the donuts here. These guys have been getting real creative with the donuts.
I would say you've shown off enough with just the race in general. This is just adding on to that.
This is just spitting on the people that you just beat. Yeah, I beat you. I'm just
my entire lap.
I'm picking on him, but we'll have a look at our race results. Here's a look-see. Well, that's page 2. Let's have a look at page 1. Well, there you go. Not a lot to see other than -1, -1, -1, -1, -1, -2, -2. Pretty solid race. The New Yorker coming down to North Carolina and absolutely taking no mercy. What a race for Indelicato. We'll move on to page number 2. Nathan Velez in 11th. Kevin Finn. For Jordan Teal, his return to 3-wide action, back to 15th place. Not a terrible result for him. Jeffrey Fisher, not the race that he was looking for. So, disappointing night for him as well as the 09 of James Miller. We'll be back in just a moment for interviews with our race winner. Welcome back live to Sim TV in the 3-Wide Racing League Grand National Division from Rockingham Speedway. Sam Close comes home third place. A great top 5 run for the Nutter Butter Dodge tonight, Sam. But Matt Grnberg snuck by there in the closing laps, but Nick and Delicato pretty much put a whooping on the rest of the field tonight. Walk us through your evening and battling that 54 at the end.
Yeah, I think I had burned my tires up. I don't know when he pitted. He stayed out a little bit longer, had fresher tires, played the strategy. And I didn't get into my pit stall, into the pit lane very well. I think I lost some time there. But overall, really happy to even be, on a podium. It's been a while.
As we look forward to Atlanta in 2 weeks' time for the season finale, again, this has sort of been an up and down season, but as you look forward to that track and then to kind of wrap up this season, do you feel like that's a place you can win and cap off the season on a high note?
Yeah, as far as mile and a halfs go, I really like Atlanta, so I'm looking forward to getting there. Hopefully it's a little bit loose, and we'll go have some fun. All
right, Sam Close, third place tonight. Really solid run, 8th to 3rd for Sam Close. Thanks for talking to us, bud. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Now to Matt Grnberg, 2nd place. Well, Matt, I think you're not a stranger to the situation, but maybe a stranger to this side of the coin. Just seemed like once Indelicato got out front, there was just nothing you could do to get back around him. No strategy, no pace, no nothing. Just walk us through the challenges of trying to run down a guy that just had it figured out tonight.
Yeah, I figured out what I was doing wrong about 130 laps into the race in 3 and 4. By then, it was a little too late. Kind of tried to play the strategy card and stay out, hope for a caution to get back on equal footing with Nick there. I know my tires were kind of pretty much gone there after I got within 4 seconds of him, but then he just took off, and then Sam got by me. So I just kind of tried to ride behind Sam and just save as much as I could for a while there. And ultimately, a caution didn't come out. It kind of looked like there was going to be a caution a few times. Luck wasn't on our side tonight. And then I guess just not enough practice tonight.
So heading into our season finale in 2 weeks, and thanks to Finian for crunching the numbers for me, 6-point differential, you to the good as we head into the last race of the season. Is that close enough to make you nervous, or do you feel pretty confident heading into the last race?
I feel pretty good about it. I think it's 3 bonus points for winning, 1 for the most laps, and 1 for a lap led. So I think if we get second, I think we'll get the win, right?
I think that
as long as we lead a lap,
as long as you do what you did here tonight, I think you'd be in pretty good shape. So Matt, congratulations on a good run tonight. Not quite a victory, but I think the bigger victory is the big picture. That'll be in 2 weeks at Atlanta. Thanks for talking. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Moving on now to the man of the evening, Nick. I don't know how you did it, but we've never seen something like that before. We saw Matt Grnberg lap up to 3rd place last season in a similar race at this track, but we've never seen anyone lap the entire field, not only in the series or at this track, but never on Sim TV have we ever seen, even in road racing, have we ever seen someone completely lap the entire field. Absolute domination. You close within 6 points of Grnberg into the final race. Walk us through your night and reflect on the season as we head into our last race in 2 weeks.
That was crazy. To be honest with you, going into Rockingham, I knew Grnberg was good, but I didn't expect me to be this good. I saved tires early, knew the right front was going to get chewed up, and to be honest with you, after my mistake at Richmond, I was looking back in the mirror too many times, took myself out, so I wanted mistake-free, clean as I could get. I took my black box off and just drove. No caution came out after the first one, which sucks because I know James was going to be fast. But yeah, I don't know if Grnberg got a penalty, but I knew he was somewhat close. But that was kind of crazy. I didn't expect that. That was awesome.
Yeah, no penalty for the 54. You just outrun him on pace here tonight, Nick. As we head into the last race of the season in 2 weeks at Atlanta, you're sort of in an interesting spot because you're 6 points back. So if you do everything that you did this week and Grnberg finishes second, he still should be able to win the championship. So how do you you're only in control of your own destiny. So how do you approach Atlanta? Is there anything you can do to kind of ensure that the 54 doesn't finish second? Because you only got one car and you need to win the race if you want to really want to win this championship with how good Matt's been. So what's the strategy going into Atlanta, and how confident do you feel about it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do my own thing. I love mile and a half. Atlanta's a good track for me. I'm going to practice. I'm going to try to do what I can. I'm not going to race Grnberg any harder or anything like that. I'm not going to take him out. That's not the way I want to race. He finishes second, wins the championship. He earns it. I made a mistake at Richmond early in the playoffs, which put me down to where I am. So it's all on me. I win the race, finish second, finish last. It's going to be fun, though. I love mile and a halves. I've had bad luck at them this year, which sucks. I've either been winning or in the top 2 or 3 or down in the the garage. So next week, just going to do what I can, be smooth, be consistent.
All right, Nick, hey, congratulations. A really solid win. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good luck at Atlanta.
Thank you. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Seth Ross Designs. Thank you guys for putting this on.
Thanks a lot, Nick. We'll see you. All right, Finney, that's going to wrap things up here tonight from Rockingham. I think our next stream is going to be Wednesday's Rodenzo Sports Car Challenge, I think. So we'll see a link for that up on the next couple of days. But Finney, reflecting on the Rock and heading into Atlanta, I think Nick might have a pretty good shot at winning this championship. If he can do what he did this week, and maybe if Matt has a little bit of bad luck, I think it's very possible.
Yeah, so what we're looking at essentially going into next week is basically if Indelicato wins the race and leads the most laps, he's got to hope that Grnberg finishes third, because at that point that would tie them in the standings. And again, if he does win the race, he should break the tiebreaker with the most amount of wins. So if he wins, he needs Grnberg to finish third. If it's anything lower for Indelicato than winning the race, he's not really looking at a solid shot of winning the championship. So we'll have to see. It did get a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, so really looking forward to Atlanta next week.
All right, that'll do it for us here tonight on Sim TV. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday for Rodenzo Sports Car Challenge from Daytona, our last race of the season.